Dear beloved child, I know there are days when you look at your life and think that everything is still fine simply because no great storm has taken place. You have grown accustomed to the repeated rhythm of life, accustomed to familiar things to the point that your soul begins to fall asleep in comfort. But I want you to understand that not every silence comes from the peace of heaven. There are quiet places that are only a soft blanket laid over the stagnation of the heart. There are days when you think you are resting, but in truth, your soul is only standing still because it is afraid to move forward. And my child, I love you too much to let you sleep forever in a place that no longer fits your identity. I did not come only to make you feel safe. I came to awaken what has been sleeping within you. There are places that once served as shelter for your soul in a certain season. But if you remain there too long, they will become boundaries that keep you from stepping into the new. A boat was not created to stay anchored in the harbor forever. A seed was not born to remain forever in the soil. And you, my beloved child, were not created to live forever in the familiar place of yesterday. Rise and go is what I have spoken many times to my people in Scripture. I told Abraham to leave his homeland. I told Peter to step out of the boat. I told Lazarus to come out of the tomb, because every time I call a soul to move forward, it is not merely a change of position. It is the awakening of identity. In the same way, today I am calling you out of the place where you have stayed too long. Not because that place is entirely bad, but because your soul has outgrown that old garment. My child, I know you often measure everything by the clock of the world. You look at time passing and wonder why what you have prayed for has not yet come. You think that if a door has not opened immediately, perhaps I have forgotten the promise, but my ways do not move according to the hurried rhythm of mankind. With the Lord, one day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like one day. As 2 Peter 3:28 says, does not speak only of my infinity. It is a reminder that time in my hands is never late. You often want me to act at a speed that makes you feel comfortable. But my beloved child, I do not lead you by haste. I lead you by life. There are things that if they came too soon would break your soul, instead of helping it mature. There are doors that, if opened before you are ready, would become a burden instead of a blessing. Therefore, many times I am not calling you to run faster. I am calling you to listen more deeply. Remember Elijah when he fled into the wilderness in exhaustion and fear. He expected me to appear in the strong wind, the earthquake, and the fire. But I was not in those things. I came in a gentle whisper. My beloved child, the world teaches you that great things always come with loud noise. But in my kingdom, many of the deepest movements happen in silence. The one who truly goes far with me is not the one who is always rushing forward in impatience, but the one who knows how to stop and recognize when I am moving. There are souls who run very fast, yet leave the rhythm of my heart. They grow weary because they try to open doors by themselves, trying to force a new season to arrive by their own strength. But then they become exhausted by what I never called them to carry. My child, I do not want you to live that way. I want you to learn discernment, to know when to walk and when to wait, when to act and when to be still before me. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. As Isaiah 4:31 declares, does not speak of passivity. It is the posture of a soul that knows how to place its rhythm within the rhythm of heaven. An eagle does not flap its wings in panic to rise higher. It knows how to catch the right wind at the right moment, and so it is with you, my beloved child. I am not calling you to live in haste, but in harmony with my leading. Perhaps even now you feel a stirring within yourself, as though something is shifting that you cannot yet fully name. The things that once felt sufficient no longer satisfy you. The repetition of the days begins to make your soul thirst for something deeper. Do not fear that feeling. It is not instability. It is the call of new life awakening within you. I am drawing you out of stagnation, not to take away your peace, but to lead you into true peace. The kind of peace that does not come from everything remaining familiar, but from knowing that you are walking with me. There are doors I will close, so that you can no longer keep returning to the old places. There are safe places I will shake, so that you may learn to trust me more deeply. And though this may frighten you at first, remember that a good shepherd does not allow his sheep to sleep forever in a field where the grass has already run dry. My beloved child, I am leading you into a new rhythm of life. Not the rhythm of hurry, but the rhythm of awakening. A soul that has awakened no longer lives merely to get through the day. It begins to listen. It begins to recognize the doors I am opening. It begins to sense the flow of heaven in the smallest things, and then step by step, it rises out of slumber and walks into true life. Therefore today, do not be afraid when I pull you away from what has become too familiar. Do not resist when I make your soul hunger for more than what this world can offer. That is not a sign that I am taking something good away from you. It is a sign that I am leading you towards something deeper, more real, and closer to your destiny than ever before. My beloved child, the day will come when you realize that life with me is not a battle where you must strain yourself, trying to control everything. For too long, you have lived with the feeling that if you do not try harder, think harder, or run faster, everything will fall apart. But my child, life in me was never built upon the fear of having to hold everything together by your own strength. When you begin to walk rightly in the rhythm of heaven, you will witness something wonderful. The right doors will open without you having to force them with your own effort. The right words will come to your mouth at the proper time. The right steps will guide you away from things you once thought you would have to struggle endlessly to overcome. This is not passivity, nor is it a life of surrendering without purpose. It is the life of one who is being led. There is a great difference between someone who tries to force everything to happen and someone who learns how to move with my flow. A boat may keep rowing against the current until it is exhausted, or it may learn to raise its sails in the right direction and let the wind carry it. My beloved child, I do not want you to live in the exhaustion of constantly trying to manufacture results on your own. I want you to learn how to recognize the movement of heaven and walk with it. He who believes shall not act hastily, as Isaiah 28:16 says, is something your soul needs to understand in this season. Hasty is often born from fear. Fear of missing an opportunity. Fear of being left behind. Fear that if you do not push yourself forward, nothing will happen. But when you truly believe that I am leading you, you will no longer live in anxiety and urgency. You will know when to move forward and when to stand still. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent, and that discernment will protect you from many unnecessary wounds. Remember David when he had the opportunity to kill King Saul in the cave. To human reasoning, it seemed like the perfect moment to seize what I had promised concerning the throne. But David understood that not every open door is my invitation. He chose to wait for the right time, rather than use his own strength to grasp what had been promised. And it was that waiting that protected his soul from becoming someone he was never called to be. My beloved child, true maturity is often found not in how much you can do, but in knowing what must not be done before its appointed time. I want to teach you again from the beginning, not how to become busier, but how to listen more clearly. There are people who do many things for me, yet no longer walk with me. They run so fast that they lose the whisper of the Holy Spirit. They are full of activity, yet empty of peace. I have not called you into that kind of life. I want you to live as one who can recognize the movement of heaven. Even in the smallest things, be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. As Psalm 37:7 says, is not meaningless delay. It is the posture of a soul learning how to move in sync with my rhythm. A person who lives under my leading does not always need to understand the entire picture. They only need enough faith to follow each small light I place before them. My beloved child, there will be times when I lead you into places that human reasoning cannot explain. There will be steps that do not seem completely logical to those around you, but if you insist on understanding everything before you obey, you will miss many things I am opening before you. Faith is not seeing the whole path before taking a step. Faith is walking when I illuminate only enough for the next step. Remember Peter walking on the water. He could not explain what he was doing through natural logic. What kept him standing was not his own ability, but the fact that his eyes were fixed rightly upon me, and only when fear pulled his gaze away from me did he begin to sink. In the same way, my beloved child, when you keep the eyes of your soul fixed within my presence, you will walk through places you once believed were impossible for you. I do not want you to become someone who merely collects spiritual teachings without living them out. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves, as James 1:10-22 reminds you, is what I am speaking to your soul today. There are people who know many truths, yet their lives remain unchanged, because the word never became their footsteps. My child, true light is not given merely to be admired. It is given to lead the way. This is a time of awakening within, not merely so that you may understand more, but so that you may walk differently. What I have sown into your soul through many seasons must now become action. If I have taught you about forgiveness, then walk in forgiveness. If I have taught you about trust, then stop clinging to control. If I have taught you about light, then begin to live as one who carries light. There are souls who hear my voice, yet still remain standing on the shore because of fear. They wait until everything becomes perfect before they move. But my beloved child, many miracles happen only when you take the first step into the water. The people of Israel saw the Jordan River part only when the feet of the priests touched the water. Obedience opens the way for what natural eyes cannot yet see. Therefore, today rise up not in the haste of the flesh, but in the awakening of the soul, not with the fear of having to prove something, but with the awareness that I am leading you. Do not allow yourself to be swept away any longer by the chaos of this world. Learn instead how to walk with the current of heaven, and then you will realize that life with me is not a burden, where you must strain yourself, trying to hold everything together. It is the journey of one who knows they do not walk alone. I am going before you. I am whispering within your heart. I am making a way even when you cannot yet see it. And as you continue walking in my rhythm, your soul will discover the kind of freedom this world can never give. The freedom of one who lives under heaven's guidance, where every step no longer comes from fear, but from deep union with me. My beloved child, there are moments in life when your soul will stand before a very delicate boundary. On one side lies the familiar that you have known for so long, and on the other side is my call, leading you into places you have never walked before. And it is at that very edge that true faith is born. Not when everything has already become clear, not when the waters beneath your feet have already turned into solid ground, but when you hear my voice in the midst of the wind and choose to step forward while your heart is still trembling. Remember Peter in the darkness of night upon the stormy sea. The waves were still violent. The wind had not ceased blowing. Nothing in the outward circumstances suggested that he could walk upon the water. Yet in the midst of the storm, he saw me. He did not fully understand what he was seeing, but his soul recognized the call, and when he said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water," I did not answer him with reasoning or calm him with long explanations. I simply said, "Come, my beloved child." Many times I speak to you in the same way, not with a detailed map for the entire journey, but with a simple calling that is enough for the next step. And the miracle began not when the wave stopped, but when Peter lifted his feet out of the boat. The water did not suddenly become stone. The circumstances did not instantly become easier. What kept him standing was not the nature of the sea, but the connection between his faith and my word. There are boats in your life that you have remained in for too long. They may be the safe places of familiarity. They may be old ways of thinking that constantly limit who you believe you can become. They may be fears of failure that keep you from moving forward. They may be places you know so well that even though life no longer flows there, you remain simply because it feels safe. But my child, there will come a time when I stand outside that boat and call you to step out. Not to make you sink, but to teach you that I am greater than the things you fear. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you is not just a verse for Jesus. It is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. Do not fear, only believe. As Mark 5:36 says, is what I am whispering to your soul today. I am not forcing you to rush forward recklessly. I am not calling you into the new through emotional impulse. I am simply inviting you to walk in trust, to believe that if I am the one calling you, then I will also be the one who keeps you standing. My beloved child, there are miracles that will never happen as long as you continue clinging tightly to the edge of the boat called the past. There are doors that only open when you dare to place your first step beyond the familiar. The people of Israel saw the waters of the Jordan River part only when the feet of the priests touched the river. Abraham entered the promised land only after leaving behind his homeland. And Peter experienced the impossible only when he stepped out from the place of safety. I know that this frightens you. There is a part of you that wants to understand everything before obeying. You want to see the entire path before taking a step. But my child, if you move only when everything is certain, you will never truly live by faith. The righteous shall live by faith. As Romans 1:17 says, does not mean living according to what the eyes can see, but according to the one who is leading them. Perhaps even now you are standing before a decision that your soul knows I am touching. A new step, a new door, a change you do not yet have the courage to name. And I do not condemn you for your trembling. Even Peter became afraid when he looked at the waves in the storm. But what mattered was not that he had never feared. What mattered was that he stepped out. My beloved child, I do not want the things I speak to you to become only beautiful emotions for a moment and then fade away. I do not want you merely to be moved by the light without walking in it. True revelation always leads to movement. My word is not given merely to fill your mind with understanding, but to guide your feet onto a new path. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, as James 1:22 says, is the reminder your soul needs in this hour. There are people who hear my voice, yet remain inside the boat because they are afraid of losing control. There are people who receive light, but never allow that light to change the way they live, and as the years pass, all they are left with is the memory of having once been touched without ever truly stepping into what I had prepared for them. But I am calling you to live differently. My beloved child, I am calling you to walk according to what I have been sowing into your heart throughout this season. Do not merely feel peace. Walk in that peace. Do not merely hear about freedom. Step out from the things that bind you. Do not merely believe that I can make a way. Place your feet where I am calling you, and remember this: I am not standing far away watching you walk alone. When Peter walked upon the water, I was there before him. In the same way, I will never call you into a place where I am not already present. What you fear is not greater than the hand that holds you. What is unknown is not stronger than my voice leading you. There will come a time when you look back on this journey and realize that every small step of obedience opened the door for the next one. You will see that you no longer live based on what you can control. You will begin to live by my guidance, and then the very things that once frightened you will become the places where you see my power most clearly. Therefore, today, my beloved child, do not stand only at the edge of the boat and watch. Do not let my calling become merely a beautiful thought within your heart. Step forward, not with confidence in yourself, but with trust in me. And when you step, you will discover that the greatest miracle is not that you walked upon the water, but that you learned how to walk with me above everything that once held your soul back. My beloved child, there are times when you think that in order to grow spiritually, you must know more. understand more, and strive more. You fill your mind with thoughts, cast on, and plans for the future until your soul becomes heavy, without you even realizing it. But I want to tell you today that true awakening does not begin by accumulating more things. It begins with laying things down. For there are burdens you have carried for so long that you have forgotten they were never yours to bear. There are fears you have kept as though they were a familiar part of your life. The fear of failure, the fear of being left behind, the fear that if you do not control everything, it will all fall apart. My child, I never created your soul to live in a state of constant striving and tension. Hands that grip too tightly cannot receive something new. A heart filled with anxiety will struggle to hear the whisper of heaven. Therefore, before I teach you how to walk farther, I want to teach you how to walk lighter. Cast all your anxiety upon him because he cares for you. As 1 Peter 5:7 says, is not merely comfort for weekdays. It is an invitation into a different way of living, a life where you no longer see yourself as the center that must carry everything alone. My beloved child, there are battles you were never meant to fight by yourself. There are questions that do not need immediate answers. There are outcomes that are not within your control. And when you begin placing those things back into my hands, your soul will begin to breathe more freely. I know you often think that if you think hard enough, prepare carefully enough, and calculate far enough ahead, you will avoid pain. But my child, true peace does not come from knowing the entire future. It comes from knowing who holds that future. There are people who try to look so far ahead that they forget what I am saying in the present moment. They live in anxiety about tomorrow and miss the calling of today. But the truly awakened person is not the one who sees everything before everyone else. It is the one who recognizes my voice in the smallest moments of the present. My sheep hear my voice. I know them and they follow me. As John 10:27 says, is the key to this journey. I did not say that my sheep understand every road ahead. I simply said that they recognize my voice and follow me. My beloved child, many times you make everything too complicated because you want absolute certainty before taking a step. But life with me is not built upon the certainty of human reasoning. It is built upon the relationship of knowing me. Look at Mary sitting at my feet, while Martha was busy and troubled with many things. Martha was not doing something evil, but her soul had become so full of tasks that there was no longer room for my presence. Mary chose what was better, not because she was lazy, but because she understood that there are moments when the most important thing is not to do more, but to draw nearer. My child, I am inviting you into that kind of life as well. Not a life driven by the fear of having to run faster than everyone else, but a life that knows how to stop and listen for my voice. The world around you is always pushing and rushing. It tells you that you must be faster, greater, stronger. It makes you feel as though you are always falling behind if you are not constantly moving. But in my kingdom, it is not the one who runs the fastest who goes the farthest. The one who goes far is the one who learns to walk in the rhythm of heaven. There are people who rush ahead quickly, yet drift far away from the path I intended for them. And there are others who walk slowly, yet every step is filled with life, because they are walking with me. My beloved child, I am not calling you to run ahead of me in impatience, but neither do I want you to remain behind in fear. I want you to walk with me. When I stop, you learn how to stop. When I open a door, you step through it without hesitation. When I remain silent, you do not panic, because you know that even my silence is still filled with my presence. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. As Matthew 4:24 says, is something your soul must remember. True life does not come from how much you achieve or how much you control. It comes from living in union with my voice. There are small steps that the world considers insignificant, yet heaven calls them great. A word of forgiveness spoken at the right moment. A decision to obey even without understanding everything. A moment when you choose prayer instead of panic. A day when you choose peace instead of driving yourself into exhaustion. My child, every small act done under my leading carries more life than the grandest efforts of the flesh. Therefore, today let your heart grow lighter. My beloved child, do not carry burdens I never placed upon you. Do not force yourself to understand everything before taking a step. Do not compare your rhythm with that of others. I have a unique path for every soul, and your path does not need to resemble anyone else's in order to be right. Learn to hear my voice in the simplest things, in the unexpected peace that comes in the middle of a chaotic day, in the gentle prompting that lets you know whether to speak or remain silent, in the door that opens without you having to force it apart. I am leading you step by step like a shepherd, guiding his flock through green pastures and beside still waters, and then you will discover something wonderful. True life is not found in how many great things you accomplish, but in whom you are walking with. When you walk with me, even the smallest step becomes perfectly timed. Even the simplest act carries the light of heaven, and your soul will no longer be swept away by the hurried current of the world. Because you have learned the rhythm of heaven, the rhythm of peace, awakening, and deep union with me, my beloved child, I do not always come to your soul through mighty upheavals or signs that astonish the crowds. There are seasons when I come like the dawn slipping quietly through the cracks of a door, gentle, silent, yet unstoppable in driving away the darkness. And within that gentleness, I am touching the deepest places of your soul, not to frighten you, but to awaken you, not to force you, but to open the eyes of your spirit, so you may see that everything is moving beneath my hand, even when your natural eyes cannot yet understand it all. There are things you once called endings simply because you could not yet see the next part of the journey. You wept before closed doors without realizing that I was leading you away from places that no longer belong to your destiny. There are turns in the road you once considered mistakes, but one day you will realize they were the very paths I used to bring you to the right place. My beloved child, heaven does not panic over the twists and turns of your life. What you call brokenness is often only the dismantling of the old so that the new may be built. Behold, I am doing a new thing now. It springs forth. Do you not perceive it? As Isaiah 40:19 says, is what I am whispering to your soul right now. The new thing I am doing does not always arrive with loud noise. It begins like a seed beneath the soil, hidden, quiet yet filled with life. Perhaps no one around you recognizes what I am doing within you yet. Perhaps you still cannot see every door opening. But my child, something does not need the confirmation of the world to become real. If I myself am the one who began it, I know there are times when you still seek recognition from the outside in order to feel at peace, You want to see clear signs. You want others to understand what is happening within your soul. But the one who lives under my guidance will learn how to trust, even without being recognized. For the deepest things I do often begin in the most hidden places. A great tree does not grow in a single night. The mightiest river often begins from a small spring that no one notices. My beloved child, when your soul truly awakens, it is not only you who senses it. Even the spiritual realm recognizes the light that is being ignited within you. Every awakened soul is like a lamp being placed back into its rightful position, and that light was not given for you to hide away in fear or shame. You are the light of the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, as Matthew 5:14-15 says, is the affirmation of the identity I have placed upon you. You were not called merely to save yourself from darkness. You were called to become a sign for souls wandering in this generation. There are people who will find hope when they see you still standing after brokenness. There are hearts that will rediscover light when they see my peace within your eyes. My child, never underestimate the influence of a soul that truly lives in the light. Even a small lamp can guide the lost through the darkness of night. But remember this, my beloved child, I do not wait until you become perfect before calling you to walk forward. If perfection were the condition for me to use a soul, then no one would ever be called. I call you even while you are still being transformed. Peter was still afraid when I called him out of the boat. Moses still felt inadequate when I sent him before Pharaoh. Jeremiah still believed he was too young when I placed my words in his mouth. But I did not choose them because of how confident they felt. I chose them because of the response of their hearts. The words go forth from my mouth are not the burden of law. They are the invitation of grace, an invitation to step out of the old place and into the realm of glory I prepared beforehand. And every step you take in trust echoes through the spiritual realm as a yes to heaven. There are times when you think you are only making a small decision, yet heaven sees it as a step of obedience. Every time you choose light instead of fear, every time you continue forward instead of turning back, every time you believe, even without seeing the entire path, your soul is moving in harmony with the motion of heaven. Remember Abraham. When I called him to leave his homeland, I did not give him the full map of the journey. I simply called him to go, and within that obedient step, destiny unfolded. My beloved child, you do not need to understand everything in order to begin walking with me. You only need to recognize my voice clearly enough to say yes. I know that sometimes you still tremble before what is new. There is a part of you that wants to remain in the familiar, because at least there, you know what will happen. But my child, light was not created to remain locked forever inside an old room. The flame I placed within you was born to shine. And the more you walk with me, the more you will realize that what truly keeps you safe is not familiarity, but my presence. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. As Deuteronomy 31:8 says, is what I want your soul to remember in this season. You are not stepping into the new alone. I have already been in the place I am leading you to before you ever arrive there. Therefore today, my beloved child, do not merely feel my light and then return to your old way of living. Do not let the words I speak become only a beautiful memory from an emotional moment. Let them become your direction. Let them become your footsteps. for revelation truly lives only when it is obeyed. And then every small step you take and trust will open the way for the next one, until one day you look back and realize that you are no longer living according to your own limited understanding. You are living according to the one who has been guiding your soul from beginning to end. My beloved child, do not think that the dark seasons you have walked through are proof that I have forgotten you. Some of heaven's greatest works are always built in places hidden from the eyes of the world. When I prepare a soul to carry light, I do not begin with thrones or exaltation. I begin in wilderness places where only that soul and I stand face to face. David learned this among cold caves and long nights of being pursued. The world saw him as a fugitive, but I saw a king being formed. There were days when he did not understand why the promise seemed so far away. He had been anointed, yet he still had to flee. He had been called to kingship, yet he slept in the wilderness and lived surrounded by danger. My beloved child, this is what your soul must understand. My promise does not disappear simply because the present moment does not yet reflect it. There are distances between the anointing and the fulfillment, and it is within that distance that I build the foundation inside you. When David wrote, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." As Psalm 23:4 says, he was not speaking as someone who had never known fear. He spoke as one who had learned how to stand in darkness and still recognize that I was there. My child, I do not lead you through dark seasons to weaken you. I lead you through them to teach you that true light does not depend on outward circumstances. If your soul shines only when everything is favorable, then it is not yet the light of heaven. The light I place within you must become strong enough to continue burning, even when all around you is night. There are souls who know how to keep faith only when miracles have already appeared before their eyes. But I am forming within you a deeper kind of faith, a faith that still stands firm even before the way opens. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. The righteous shall live by faith. As Romans 1:17 says, does not mean they live only when everything is clear. They live by trust even when many things remain hidden. And it is that kind of faith that cannot be shaken by circumstances. My beloved child, true fire is not sustained by emotional moments that flare up for a short time. It is sustained through faithfulness in the most ordinary of days. There are days when you feel nothing extraordinary, no great signs, no immediate answers. Yet when you continue believing, continue praying, and continue walking even without seeing results, your soul is becoming stronger than you realize. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Red Sea. Before them was the deep sea. Behind them was the enemy advancing closer. By human logic, there was no escape. And my child, there are many moments when your soul stands in places just like that, where every door seems closed, where you no longer know which way to go. But the wonder of it is this: I did not part the sea before they stepped into obedience. I parted the sea when Moses lifted his staff in faith. My beloved child, miracles often do not come before faith. They follow the footsteps of obedience. If the people of Israel had remained standing there, demanding to see the entire path before believing, they would have remained trapped in fear forever. But when they began to move according to my word, the impossible began to separate before them. There are seas in your life that will part only when you dare to move forward. There are doors that will open only when you approach them in faith. There are promises that begin to take shape only when you stop demanding to understand everything beforehand. My child, I know your instinct is to seek certainty before taking a step, but the journey with me always requires something deeper than the certainty of human reasoning. It requires the trust of the soul. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, as Hebrews 11:7 says, is the foundation I am establishing within you. Faith does not deny that the sea still stands before you. It simply believes that my power is greater than that sea. I know there are days when you feel as though you are walking in darkness without seeing any light at all. But my beloved child, even in the darkest night, I am still at work. When a seed lies beneath the soil, it cannot see the sun, yet life is quietly growing within it. In the same way, there are things I am forming inside you that your eyes cannot yet perceive. Do not fear seasons when there are not many strong spiritual emotions. Do not think that I am distant simply because you no longer feel things as you once did. David also wept within caves. Elijah also grew weary beneath the broom tree. Even the disciples trembled in fear upon the stormy sea. Yet not for one moment did I leave them. And I have never left you either, my beloved child. Every time you continue walking without seeing clearly, heaven sees it. Every time you choose faith instead of surrendering to fear, a new strength is being formed within your soul. Every time you continue carrying light through the darkness, the fire within you becomes more refined. Therefore, today, do not wait for the sea to part before you believe. Do not wait for everything to become certain before you step forward. Follow my voice first, and you will see the impossible gradually opening a way before you. I am not calling you into the recklessness of the flesh. I am calling you into the courage of faith. And one day you will look back upon the dark seasons, the storms, and the silences that once seemed endless, and you will understand this: it was there that I taught your soul how to stand firm without fear. It was there that I transformed you from someone merely searching for light into someone who carries light from within. My beloved child, there are times when you look back upon the journey you have walked and wonder why. It seems as though you keep facing the same familiar trials. You think you are returning to the same lesson, the same battle, the same kind of pain. But my child, I want you to look with deeper eyes. You are not being brought back to the same place. You are being led into deeper levels of growth. The higher a house is meant to stand against great winds, the deeper its foundation must be laid beneath the ground. And I am building that foundation within your soul. There are things I cannot place into the hands of a soul that does not yet have the depth to carry them, not because I desire to delay blessings, but because I love you too much to entrust you with something great before the foundation within you is strong enough. he who is faithful in little will also be faithful in much. As Luke 16:10 says, is not only about outward responsibility. It is a principle of the kingdom of heaven. The small things you do faithfully in secret today are creating the capacity within you for greater things tomorrow. My beloved child, remember Joseph, who could have seen the image of a leader within the slave who had been sold away, who could have seen the Savior of many nations within the forgotten prisoner in a dark dungeon. But I saw it. And even when Joseph could not fully understand what I was doing, not one season of his life was wasted. The years of betrayal taught him mercy. The days of being forgotten taught him patience. The lonely hours taught him to cling to me, rather than to people. My child, it was in those dark places that his soul was deepened enough to later carry authority without being destroyed by it. There are people who only desire to be lifted up, yet do not want to pass through the process of being deepened. They want great fruit with shallow roots, and when strong winds come, they are uprooted. But I do not want that for you. I am forming within you a kind of strength that does not depend on favorable circumstances. I am teaching you how to stand firm, even when everything around you is shaking. The Lord is my rock and my fortress, as Psalm 18:2 says, is what I want engraved deeply within your soul, for true strength is not found in never being weak. True strength is found in knowing where to run when you are weak. My beloved child, there are seasons when I allow you to walk through places where you no longer have enough strength to lean upon your own understanding. And that frightens you, because you have been accustomed to controlling things, accustomed to finding your own way out through human reasoning. But I am teaching you something deeper. When the old supports are removed, your soul begins to learn how to truly lean upon me. Trust does not suddenly appear fully formed in a single day. It is trained like the muscles of the soul. A person cannot grow strong without ever carrying weight. And so it is with you, my beloved child. Every time you choose faith, instead of allowing anxiety to consume you, your soul grows a little stronger. Every time you remain silent, instead of speaking bitter words, the peace within you grows a little deeper. Every time you rise again, after disappointment instead of giving up, the foundation within you becomes a little more secure. There are victories that heaven sees which the world will never know, when you choose to continue praying even without an answer. When you continue loving even when your heart is weary. When you continue walking even while the road ahead remains dim. My child, those moments are creating within you a kind of faith that cannot easily be shaken. Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God goes with you. As Deuteronomy 31:6 says, is not a word spoken to those who have never been afraid. It is a word for the one who is trembling, yet still chooses to keep walking forward. I do not ask you never to be weak. I only ask that you do not remain forever beneath that weakness. Let every fall become a place where you learn to rise again, closer to me than before. My beloved child, do not see your moments of weakness as failure. It is within those very moments that you are learning things that those who have never been broken cannot understand. The one who has never trembled in fear will never know what it means to stand firm by faith. The one who has never grown weary will never fully understand the value of grace that sustains them day by day. And the one who has never walked through darkness will struggle to recognize how precious light truly is. Remember Paul when he pleaded with me to remove the thorn from his flesh. Yet I did not take it away immediately. I said to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." My child, there are things I do not remove at once, because through them you learn how to live by my strength instead of your own. Perhaps today you still feel that you are not strong enough for what lies ahead. But my beloved child, that very feeling is keeping your soul humble and close to me. The person who believes they are strong enough often falls more easily than the one who knows they need me every single day. And there will come a time when you look back at the person you were years ago and realize that you have changed, not only in what you do, but in the depth of your soul. The things that once caused you to collapse no longer hold the same power over you. The fears that once changed your steps no longer rule you, not because life has become easier, but because the foundation within you has become deeper. My beloved child, I am not only preparing blessings for your future, I am preparing you yourself so that you will be strong enough to carry them without breaking beneath them. And that is why not one tear you have cried has been wasted. Not one dark season you have passed through has been meaningless. Every single thing has been making your soul deeper, stronger, and closer each day to the image I desire to form within you. My beloved child, I want you to understand this profound truth. The work I am creating within your soul does not happen only in the great moments that are easy for you to recognize. It is not present only in storms, tears, or dramatic turning points that shake your heart deeply. Most of my work happens in days so ordinary that you think nothing at all is happening. Yet, it is within those quiet and simple moments that the deepest foundations of your soul are being laid. When you wake up and still choose gentleness toward others, even while you yourself are weary. I see it when you continue doing what is right, even though no one acknowledges it. I see it when you silently forgive someone who has never apologized, when you carry out small responsibilities with wholehearted faithfulness, even though no one praises you for it. My beloved child, heaven still takes notice of every one of those things. He who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. As Luke 16:10 says, is not merely a lesson about morality, it is a principle of my kingdom. For what you do in hidden places today is creating the capacity within you for greater things tomorrow. There are souls who think faith is built only upon the stage of great miracles or beneath the spotlight of recognition. But true faith often grows within the secret room, where no one but me sees your battle. It is there when you continue praying without yet having an answer, when you continue loving without receiving love in return, when you continue walking uprightly though no one notices, that I am creating within you a strength that does not depend upon the eyes of the world. And then the day will come when I open new doors before you. Others will see the steadiness within you without understanding where it was formed. They will see the light upon your life without realizing that this light was nurtured through countless quiet days, unseen by anyone else. But you will know. You will remember the days when you continued believing, even when you saw nothing. The days when you remained faithful without recognition. The days when it was only you and me together in the secret place. Therefore, today, my beloved child, continue to live faithfully in the small things. Continue to love. Continue to do what is right. Continue to keep your heart tender before me. Do not wait until you can see. before you give your whole heart. Do not wait until you are recognized before you walk in the light, for it is within the most ordinary days that I am preparing you for things you cannot yet fully imagine. My beloved child, I know there are seasons when you sit quietly among unanswered questions and wonder whether I am still speaking to you at all. You look around and see only prolonged silence. You pray and wait, yet what seems to return to you is only a deep stillness. And there are moments when your soul begins to think that perhaps I have turned away somewhere else. But my child, there will come a day when you look back over the entire journey you have walked and realize something gentle and profound. I never stop speaking to you, not even for a single moment. I speak in many ways that hurried hearts often miss. I speak through sudden peace in the middle of a chaotic day. I speak through a door closing at the right moment to protect you from something that would wound your soul. I speak through the gentle prompting that lets you know whether to stop or continue moving forward. There have been times when you called it intuition, but in truth it was the whisper of the Holy Spirit touching the deepest place within you. Remember Elijah on Mount Horeb. He expected me to appear in something great and overwhelming. A mighty wind passed by. The earth shook and fire blazed forth, yet I was not in those things. Then after it all, I came in a still, gentle whisper. My beloved child, this is often how I speak to a mature soul, not to terrify you with noise, but to draw you close enough to listen. For there are things that only a quiet heart can recognize. I know there are times when you want me to answer immediately clearly, like thunder echoing across the sky, but if I always spoke that loudly, you would never learn how to recognize my voice within the small things. And I do not want you to hear me only in extraordinary moments. I want you to know my voice well enough to walk with me every day. My beloved child, there have been times when I held you back while you wanted to rush ahead. You thought it was delay, but I saw what you could not see. I knew that if you moved too soon, what I desired to give you would become a burden rather than a blessing. There have also been times when I urged you forward, while you only wanted to remain in the familiar place. Not because I am harsh, but because I know what is waiting for you ahead. He has made everything beautiful in its time. As Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, is what I want your soul to engrave deeply within itself. Heaven is never late. I simply act at the right moment, when the maturity within you is able to hold what I give. If I were to give it too soon, you would lose it, because your roots would not yet be deep enough. But when I give it at the appointed time, it will take root within your soul and will not easily be taken away. Look at the fruit upon the branch, my child. If it is picked too early, it is not yet sweet. If a flower is forced to bloom before its season, its petals will be weak and fade quickly. In the same way, there are things I am preparing for you that require time to grow properly. Not because I am slow, but because I am perfect in my wisdom. I know there are days when you feel as though you are simply walking quietly through life without anyone noticing. You continue being faithful in small things. You continue loving even when love is not returned. You continue keeping your heart upright even when no one sees it. And sometimes you wonder whether any of it truly matters. My beloved child, it is within those hidden places that I am forming the kind of depth that future light will not be able to destroy. There are people who are brought into the light too soon, and then that very light blinds them. They begin to live for recognition rather than for my presence. But I am teaching you how to carry light with a humble heart. I am teaching you how to stand firm without becoming hardened, how to be strong while remaining gentle, how to be lifted up without losing your dependence upon me. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. As Psalm 91 scene 1 says, is where I am keeping your soul in this season. Do not despise the quiet days. It is there that you are learning how to live, not by the attention of the world, but by my presence. And then the day will come when I lead you into brighter places. But when that day arrives, you will no longer need to strive to prove anything. You will not need to shout for others to recognize the light within you. Your life itself will speak. The peace within your eyes will speak. The steadiness of your steps will speak. The love and gentleness you carry will speak. People will not merely hear your words. They will sense that you have walked with me through seasons that not everyone is willing to walk through. My beloved child, stop trying to control everything with your weary hands. Do not cling tightly to what I am asking you to surrender back to me. Do not force yourself to understand the entire journey before taking a step. I am not calling you into the certainty of human reasoning. I am calling you into the trust of relationship. Open your heart before me. Let me lead you step by step like a father, holding the hand of his child along an unfamiliar road. Perhaps you cannot yet see the whole picture, but I can. Perhaps you do not yet understand the purpose of every season, but I do. And one day, when you look back over the entire journey, you will realize that nothing was accidental. Every delay, every closed door, every silent season, every quiet leading, all of it was beautiful in a way that only I could have arranged. Therefore, today, my beloved child, be at peace. I am still speaking. I am still leading. I am still preparing, and I will never allow you to become lost as long as the eyes of your soul remain fixed upon me. My beloved child, I am bringing you before doors that your eyes were once not yet bright enough to recognize. There are doors that have always existed, yet your soul was not ready to walk through them. Now, as I open the eyes of your spirit wider, you begin to see opportunities, relationships, and new spaces that you once believed were not meant for you. But, my child, what I am opening is not merely outward change. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. It is an expansion within your soul. I am leading you into places where your words carry life, instead of simply passing by as empty sound. There are encounters I am preparing, where you will no longer need to strain yourself to be accepted, or try to create an image for yourself. You will step into relationships born from spiritual harmony, rather than from the striving of the flesh. And when you are in the place I have truly prepared for you, you will not need to fight in order to belong there. Peace itself will confirm it within your heart. But my beloved child, with every opening there must also come wisdom. Not every door comes from me simply because it appears attractive. Not every opportunity is heaven's leading simply because it looks impressive before human eyes. A prudent man foresees danger and hides himself, as Proverbs 22:3 says, is not speaking of fear. It is the discernment of a mature soul, knowing when to move forward and when to pause, knowing when to speak and when to remain silent before me. There are souls who lose their peace because they chase after everything that shines without ever asking where that light comes from. But I do not want you to live guided by the attractions of the world. I want you to be led by my presence. There are places crowded with people where I am not present. There are things that appear full of promise, yet carry no true life within them. And there are doors that seem small in the eyes of men, yet contain the mighty flow of heaven. My beloved child, keep humility as armor for your soul, for true light does not require pride in order to be seen. A tree heavy with fruit always bows its branches low. The one who truly carries my presence will not need to constantly prove their worth. They walk in the quiet steadiness of one who knows they belong to me. Do not seek fame, for fame can raise a person up quickly and cast them down just as quickly. Seek instead alignment with my purpose. Do not run toward places where many eyes are fixed upon you. Run toward the places where I am moving. For there are people standing in the middle of crowds whose souls remain empty, while there are others walking quietly, whose lives are beneath an open heaven. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. As James 4:6 says, is something you must keep deeply within your heart. Humility does not make you smaller. It keeps your soul soft enough for me to continue leading you. The proud often stop listening because they believe they already know enough. But the humble continue to keep their hearts open before my voice day after day. Therefore, in every step ahead, ask your soul one simple question. Does this reflect my light? Does it carry life, peace, and truth? Does it draw you closer to me? If it does, my beloved child, then walk forward with boldness. Do not let fear hold you back where I am making a way. But if your heart loses peace, if your soul senses that something is not aligned with the light, have the courage to step back without regret. The one who walks in the light does not need to compete or prove anything. The light will reveal itself. Remember Daniel in the courts of Babylon. He did not need to become like the world in order to have influence. It was the difference preserved in the light of my presence that caused even kings to recognize heaven's hand upon him. My beloved child, true influence is not born from trying to make yourself stand out. It is born from carrying my presence into every place you enter. There are places I will send you, where your words will become comfort for the weary. There are souls who will find hope again simply because they see the light in the way you live. There are doors that will open, not because of your ability, but because my presence goes with you. And when that happens, never forget that it all comes from me. My beloved child, this is no longer only a season of preparation. This is a season of being sent. It is no longer the time for you to stand outside, watching others walk in their purpose, while your heart only longs for it. I am calling you yourself to step into the portion I have appointed for you, not so that you may exalt yourself, but so that you may become a vessel through which the light of heaven touches others. Go into all the world, is not only a command for a few specially chosen people. It is a calling for every soul that has been touched by my light. And my child, being sent does not always begin with things that look great in the eyes of the world. It begins with small steps of obedience each day, a word of encouragement spoken at the right time, an act of love that needs no recognition, a soul willing to carry my peace into a place full of chaos. And then you will begin to recognize this profound truth. When you truly walk in my leading, you are not merely completing a task for me. I am revealing my life through you. The words you speak will carry my gentleness. The light in your eyes will reflect my light. The peace within you will become evidence that heaven is still present in the midst of this chaotic world. My beloved child, that is where all glory belongs to me. Yet joy overflows within your soul. For there is no deeper joy than knowing that your life is becoming a vessel through which eternal light can flow. My beloved child, there will be days when you look around and see the world running very fast. People rush to build a name, rush to prove their worth, rush to push themselves ahead because they fear being left behind. And if you are not careful, your soul will also begin to be pulled into that hurried rhythm. You will feel that you must do more, say more, and appear more in order to be seen. But my child, I have never called you to live in the haste of fear. I have not called you to run faster than others. I have called you to walk rightly in the rhythm of heaven. There are people who run very far in the eyes of the world, yet their souls drift farther and farther away from peace. They strive to hold on to their position by their own strength, trying to protect what they have gained through anxiety and control. But what comes from me does not require you to strain yourself in order to keep it. What I give will stand firm by my own strength. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. As Psalm 37:7 says, is not a call to live passively. It is an instruction teaching your soul not to be swept into movements that were never meant for you. My beloved child, there are doors that others must fight and struggle to enter. Yet, I will open them for you at the appointed time. There are places where others try to use loud voices to gain attention. Yet, I will let your life itself speak on your behalf. When a tree truly has deep roots, it does not need to shout that it is alive. Its fruit will prove it. And I want your soul to live in that way, not driven by the need to prove yourself, but firmly anchored in the identity I have placed within you. Remember Mary and Martha. Martha was busy with many acts of service, yet her heart was troubled and restless. Mary, however, sat at my feet and listened, and I said that Mary had chosen the better portion. My child, I do not rebuke service. I simply want you to understand that action, which does not begin in my presence, will quickly become a burden. There are people who do many things for me, yet are no longer close to me. They remain endlessly active, while their souls grow increasingly exhausted. I do not want you to live that way, my beloved child. True leaders in my kingdom do not begin by rushing ahead. They begin by kneeling first. It is in the place where you humble yourself in my presence that you are lifted uprightly. For if you are elevated before learning how to remain at my feet, the light may lead you astray instead of illuminating your path. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. As James 4:6 says, is a principle of heaven. The humble do not live to compete with others. They live to move in harmony with me. And when your soul begins to align with me, You will no longer be shaken by the speed of the world around you. My beloved child, I have not called you to push your way into the crowd merely to be seen. I have called you to become a light for those who are lost in the darkness of night. A lamp does not need to compete for position with other lamps. It simply needs to continue burning rightly, and its light will naturally guide those who need to see. There are people who try to break through by rushing ahead, but true breakthrough in my kingdom does not come from accelerating through human effort. It comes when your soul aligns with the rhythm of heaven. Look at the river, my child. It does not force itself to flow. It moves because it follows the current that has already been ordained for it. And when you walk with me in the same way, many things will begin to fall into place on their own. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. As Matthew 6:33 says, is the secret of a life no longer stretched thin by anxiety. I am not telling you to stop working. I am teaching you how to work from the right position. The position of one who places me at the center first. There were things you once tried to grasp by your own strength that ultimately left you exhausted. But there will also be things I give to you when you are standing in the right position, and they will come with peace instead of chaos, for what truly belongs to you and me will never require you to lose your soul in order to keep it. My beloved child, do not let your heart become troubled when you see others moving faster in the eyes of the world. You do not see the full journey they are walking, just as they cannot see what I am doing deeply within you. There are trees that grow quickly, but have shallow roots. There are also trees that grow more slowly, yet stand firm through many seasons of storms. I am forming within you the second kind. Therefore, when the world pressures you to run faster, learn how to stop before me. When people strive to make their own names heard, continue being faithful in the secret place. When others are swept into competition, keep your eyes fixed upon me. The one who truly walks in their destined purpose does not need to fight for the spotlight. My light upon their life will reveal itself at the appointed time. My beloved child, there will come a day when you look back and realize that what sustained you was not your ability to run quickly, but your ability to walk with me. It was the times you chose peace instead of haste that protected your soul from many unnecessary things. It was the times you chose to listen instead of rushing ahead that led you into the very doors I had opened for you. And then you will understand that true breakthrough is not about getting ahead of everyone else. True breakthrough is stepping into the exact place heaven has appointed for you. The place where you no longer need to strain yourself merely to survive, because everything begins to flow according to the order of heaven. My beloved child, let your soul rest in this truth. The journey I am leading you through is not yet finished. But it is no longer the same burden it once was in earlier seasons. There were times when you felt dragged through every trial, as though every step required all your strength just to keep from falling. But now something is quietly changing within you. You are no longer merely someone trying to survive the storm. You are becoming someone who is learning how to soar above it. I see the growth within you that even you often fail to recognize. There was once a time when even small fears were enough to throw your heart into turmoil. There were times when even silence made you think I had abandoned you. But now, though difficult days still come, Your soul is no longer so easily crushed as before. Not because life no longer has storms, but because another foundation has been built within you. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. As Isaiah 41:31 says, is not merely a promise for some distant future. It is something I am already beginning to accomplish within you even now. An eagle does not fly through frantic struggling. It learns how to spread its wings and allow the wind to lift it higher. My beloved child, I am teaching you that kind of life as well. Not a life built entirely upon your own strength, but one that learns how to let my Spirit uphold your soul. There are things that once weighed heavily upon you that no longer hold the same power as before. They have not completely disappeared from your life, but they are no longer chains as they once were. The trials that once pulled you downward are becoming the very winds, teaching you how to rise higher. The things that once filled you with fear are becoming testimonies of my faithfulness upon your life. Look at the eagle when the storm comes. Other birds seek shelter in fear, but the eagle uses the very strong winds of the storm to lift itself higher above the dark clouds. My beloved child, I am teaching you the same thing. I do not promise to remove every opposing wind from your life, but I promise that if you learn to walk with me, the very things that once tried to drown you will become the place that lifts your soul deeper into faith. There are wounds from the past that are no longer only pain. They have become wisdom. There are seasons of loneliness that once made you cry. Yet now they have become the place where you learned my gentle presence. There are failures that once filled you with shame. Yet now they have taught you how to show greater mercy to others. Do you see, my beloved child, I do not merely rescue you from those things. I transform them into part of the journey of growth within you. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, as Romans 8:28 says, is something you are beginning to understand, not only with your mind, but through the very experience of your life. Nothing I allow is wasted. Even the darkest seasons are being woven by me into something good in a way you cannot yet fully see. Therefore, today, my beloved child, keep walking, not with the weary striving you once carried. Walk gently yet firmly. Do not rush ahead of me anymore, but do not remain standing still in fear either. There is a deep difference between the one who forces themselves forward and the one who walks under the leading of the Spirit. The first quickly becomes exhausted. The second is renewed day by day. I am no longer only teaching you how to stand again after falling. I am teaching you how to live in the freedom of one who knows they are upheld by heaven. There was a time when you only looked down at your feet because you feared stumbling. But now I want you to begin looking farther, ahead to the wide field of destiny of light and of the souls I will touch through your life. My beloved child, I am with you not only in strong moments of victory. I am also with you in the quietest hours. When you rest, I am still there. When you are weary and no longer know what to say, I am still there. My love for you does not increase when you succeed, nor does it decrease when you are weak. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission will grow into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Giving to this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through hearts that are kind. This is what I say over you now. Each gift you give is like a stream of living water that flows into the life of someone who needs healing. Give, and it will be given to you is not just a verse for Jesus, it is a living promise that shapes your future. Allow me to invite you now with a simple act of faith. Come into this moment with purpose, with honesty, and with hope. The money you give today is not a donation. The act of spiritual obedience that lets your heavens open is what opens them. Let go of your seed and see what God brings back into your life. I do not walk only with the strong version of you. I walk with you yourself fully, honestly, and as you grow day by day, come to me all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As Matthew 11:28 says, is the invitation I still extend to your soul. The rest I give is not an escape from life. It is the state of a soul that knows it no longer has to carry everything alone. And then you will gradually recognize this profound truth. I am not merely teaching you how to survive the passing days. I am leading you into abundant life, a life where every breath carries peace. Every step carries light. Every choice reflects my heart more deeply. A life no longer ruled by fear or by the pressure to prove yourself, but guided by the freedom of one who knows they belong to me. My beloved child, you are no longer merely someone learning how to stand again after falling. You are learning how to fly. And when you truly begin to soar upon the wind of the Spirit, you will no longer look downward with the old fears that once held you captive. You will look ahead with the gentle freedom of a soul that has finally understood this truth. It is I who am carrying you. My beloved child, do not be too quick to call the difficult seasons of your life failures. Do not look at your wounds, your seasons of exhaustion, or the moments when your heart trembled, and assume they were signs that you had lost the battle. There are struggles I allow not to destroy you, but to expose the things quietly eroding your soul that you had not yet been able to see. For not every darkness enters like a violent storm. Many times it comes like a thin mist, so subtle that you do not realize it is slowly dimming the light within you. There were days when you thought you were simply tired, but in truth, your soul had gradually been pulled away from the place of my peace. There were moments when you began to doubt your own worth, not because you truly lacked value, but because the voice of truth within you had been drowned out by false whispers. There were pressures that arrived so slowly that you called them normal, while they were quietly causing you to forget who you are in me. But my beloved child, I saw all of it. I saw the times you tried to smile while inside you were completely drained. I saw the nights when you lay still while your soul felt weighed down by heavy thoughts. I saw even the things you never spoke to anyone about, the silent fears, the nameless exhaustion, the feeling that you were losing something within yourself without even knowing how to name it. And today I speak this over your life as a declaration from heaven. You shall no longer be oppressed, as Isaiah 54:14 says, not because you were able to free yourself, but because I have decided that this season of silent invasion must come to an end. My child, what I am doing is not merely soothing your emotions for a moment. This is not simply a brief comfort meant to make you feel better before everything returns to the way it was before. No, a deeper process is taking place in the unseen realm that natural eyes cannot perceive. My justice is moving upon your life. There are things you believed were lost forever, years that seemed stolen by delay, opportunities that were taken away, parts of your heart that were wounded so deeply you no longer recognized yourself. But my beloved child, heaven has not forgotten those things. Not one tear you shed has gone unseen. Not one loss you endured has gone unremembered before me. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. As Joel 20:25 says, is not merely a beautiful promise meant to comfort the suffering. It is part of my very nature, the nature of the one who can restore what time, people, and darkness believed had been completely destroyed. I do not merely heal the surface. I go into the very place where the loss occurred and begin rebuilding life from there. There are things you believed you lost because of weakness. But I see deeper than that. I saw the seasons when you were attacked by lingering weariness, by invisible pressures that slowly silenced your soul. I saw how darkness tried to convince you that you were no longer valuable enough, no longer strong enough, no longer worthy enough to continue forward. But my child, the truth has never changed simply because for a season you could no longer hear it clearly. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 says, is what I am restoring within your soul. I am pulling you out from the lies that have remained too long within your mind. The voices that say you have failed, that you have missed your moment, that you are no longer capable of stepping into what I promised you. My beloved child, those voices do not come from me. I do not look at you through eyes of condemnation. I look at you through the eyes of the one who sees what you will become after restoration. And I want you to understand that many of the battles you have walked through were not only meant to make you stronger, they were also meant to expose the things quietly invading your peace and identity. There are souls who have lived under pressure for so long that they believe it is normal. But I did not create you to live beneath the silent oppression of fear, shame, or exhaustion. I created you to walk in the freedom of light. Remember the woman who had been bent over for 18 years in the scriptures. People only saw her body bent downward, but I saw what was binding her behind the surface. And when I called her to stand upright, it was not merely physical healing. It was liberation from what had oppressed her for far too long. My beloved child, I am calling your soul to stand upright in the same way today. Do not think that restoration will always come in the way human beings imagine it. I do not merely return what was lost in its old form. Many times I do something greater. I transform the very loss itself into the birthplace of wisdom, depth, and light that you never possessed before. There are years you believed had been wasted, yet you will one day see me use those very years to create within you the ability to strengthen others. There are wounds that once caused you pain, but later they will become the place from which mercy flows through your life. What darkness intended to use in order to paralyze you, I will transform into a testimony of my restoring power. My beloved child, you do not need to understand every detail of how I am working for this process to be real. You do not need to see the entire picture in order to trust me. What I desire from you is not perfect understanding, but a heart willing to open itself before my restoration. Therefore, today, stop calling yourself a failure simply because you have walked through dark seasons. Stop believing you have been forgotten simply because certain things were taken from your hands. I am still examining every part of your life through the perfect righteousness of heaven. and when I restore, I do not restore halfway. There will come a day when you look back over your journey and realize this: nothing is ever truly lost when it has been placed into my hands. For I am the one who can take ashes and create beauty, take darkness and open the dawn, take what seemed finished and begin a new story filled with light. My beloved child, let your soul grow still, even more deeply beyond the unstable layer of human emotion, until it touches the place where the truth of heaven operates with perfect precision and never fails. What I am revealing to you is not temporary comfort meant only to soothe your heart for a moment. This is the movement of heavenly justice, a justice that is not changed by human emotions, not distorted by the voice of darkness, and never forgets anything that has been recorded before my throne. When I speak a word, that word does not vanish into emptiness and disappear in the unseen realm where natural eyes cannot see, but awakened souls can sense. Everything immediately begins to move. The things connected to your destiny are not left abandoned for the chaos of life to determine their outcome. Before me, every part of your life is recorded clearly. Every prayer you cried through the night, every opportunity you thought slipped from your hands, every hidden wound no one ever knew about, every season when you fought simply to preserve even the smallest spark of faith within your heart. Know that for every hidden thing, whether good or evil, God will bring it into judgment. As Ecclesiastes 12:14 says, is the confirmation that nothing in your life is ever lost before my eyes. Heaven does not forget, my justice does not sleep, and what I ordained for you from the beginning cannot be erased simply because you walk through seasons of weakness or confusion. My beloved child, there are things you were too quick to call lost. You looked at the passing of time and assumed that opportunity had died. You saw doors closing and believe that what belonged to you had been given to someone else. But I say to you today, not everything that is not yet in your hands has been taken out of your life. There are things I am preserving within my hidden timing, not to deprive you, but to protect them for the proper season of fulfillment. Remember Joseph in the prison. The world believed his dream had died. Perhaps even he himself wondered whether the promise still remained alive. But the throne did not disappear simply because he had not yet reached it. It was being kept in its rightful place for the appointed time I had determined. My child, what I have written over your life cannot remain in the possession of darkness forever. No power has the authority to hold permanently what belongs to me. I will restore to you double. As Zechariah 9:12 says, is not merely a simple repayment. I do not restore what was lost in its old form alone. I restore it with new depth, new light, and a fullness you once did not yet have the capacity to carry. My beloved child, picture within your soul a scale being set before my throne, not the scales of mankind, which can be tilted by prejudice, emotion, or accusation. This is the scale of eternal truth. On one side is the voice of darkness, constantly trying to accuse your soul, saying that you are not good enough, that you have failed, that you lost what I gave because you were unworthy to keep it. Those voices have followed you through many seasons until at times you began to believe they were truth. But on the other side stands my truth, and that truth is not built upon your temporary feelings. It does not change according to human exhaustion. I see what the world cannot see. I see that there were times when you were not rebellious. You were simply too wary to continue fighting the way you once did. I see there were seasons when you did not intentionally lose your way. You were simply pulled too long into the midst of confusion. I see that even in the days when you believed your faith was almost extinguished, there still remained a small flame you refused to let go of completely. My beloved child, that very flame is proof before heaven that you never truly turned away from me. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. As Proverbs 11:1 says, is the principle I am applying over your life right now. My justice cannot be corrupted by darkness. No accusation is stronger than the truth I see within your soul. There were times when you condemned yourself more harshly than I ever did. You called yourself a failure, while I saw a warrior who had grown weary. You called yourself weak, while I saw someone who had survived invisible battles others could never understand. My beloved child, I do not deny your mistakes, but I look deeper than your mistakes to see a heart that still longs for the light. Remember Peter after he denied me 3 times. The world may have seen only failure, but I saw a soul overcome by fear in a moment of weakness. Not someone who had truly abandoned me. And because I looked through the eyes of truth, instead of outward appearances alone, I restored him rather than cast him away. My beloved child, there are parts of your life being called back into their rightful places. Peace that was once stolen, pieces of your identity that darkness distorted, opportunities that seemed dead, dreams that were delayed. I am bringing all of these things into the light of my justice. This does not mean everything will suddenly change overnight, but know this, from the moment I speak, the process of restoration has already begun. There are unseen doors already moving before your eyes can perceive them. There are chains already losing their power before you fully recognize your freedom. Therefore, today, stop agreeing with the accusations any longer. Do not let the voice of darkness define your identity. Let my truth become the loudest voice within your soul. I do not call you abandoned. I call you restored. I do not call you a failure. I call you one who is being lifted up after the battle. And there will come a day when you look back upon this entire journey and realize this. My justice never once slept over your life. What I have written with eternal light can never be erased by darkness. My beloved child, allow my light to go even deeper into your mind. For there are things that for a long time you have only sensed faintly, without truly understanding. You believed you had lost many things, that blessings had departed from your life, that the promises I once spoke had perhaps been taken away forever. But today, I want you to see a deeper truth. Darkness has never possessed the authority to own what I have sealed upon you. What it has tried to do was not truly to steal what belonged to you, but to pull you away from the place you were destined to stand. My beloved child, this is the subtle strategy that many souls fail to recognize. The enemy does not always come to destroy directly. Many times, it only needs to weary you long enough for you to slowly step out of your rightful place. It does not need to remove the light if it can persuade you to stop standing where the light shines. It does not need to erase the promise if it can convince you to stop believing that the promise still belongs to you. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. As Hosea 4:6 says, is not speaking merely about intellectual understanding. It is speaking of spiritual discernment, not recognizing what is truly taking place. There are souls who condemn themselves for years, believing they have failed, when in truth, They have only been drawn away from the place of peace and identity I ordained for them from the beginning. My beloved child, I have not come today merely to soothe your pain. I have come to open your eyes, for when the light of understanding shines in, darkness loses its place to hide. The things that once brought confusion begin to reveal their true nature. And once you see clearly, you will no longer be led astray as easily as before. Look back upon your journey through the eyes of truth instead of condemnation. There were seasons when you withdrew, not because you truly wanted to abandon me. You were simply too wary to keep fighting as before. There were moments of doubt, not because you lacked faith. False voices had repeated themselves within your mind for so long that they eventually began to sound like truth. There were times when you felt lost, not because I had never called you. You had simply been drawn little by little away from clarity. But my beloved child, being pulled away does not mean your destiny has been erased. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until the full day. As Proverbs 4:18 says, is what I still hold over your life. That light may have been covered by mist for a season, but the true path never disappeared from my sight. I want you to picture within your soul a sacred boundary drawn around your life before you were ever born. Not with stone or ink, but by my very word. Within that boundary are the things I ordained for you: peace, clarity, joy, identity, doors opening in their proper season, relationships aligned with my purpose, blessings that have carried your name since the beginning. But my beloved child, over time there were areas of your life that became darker. Not because I left those places. I have never abandoned what I sealed, but there were unlawful intrusions that slowly entered in. Anxiety began replacing peace. Confusion covered clarity. Pressure suffocated joy. Invisible accusations shook your spiritual confidence. And little by little, you began living like someone being pushed away from the very land I had intended for you. But today, my beloved child, I am declaring a command in the spiritual realm over your life. Give it back. When I speak in this way, it is not a word of emotional encouragement. It is the voice of eternal authority. Everything that does not belong to you must leave. Every burden I never placed upon you must release its hold on you. Every lie that has remained too long within your mind must lose its power. Remember Job, the enemy was permitted to attack his circumstances, but it was never given the authority to touch the identity I had placed upon him. And after it all, I restored him not merely with repayment, but with abundance greater than before. My child, what I have sealed upon your life is the same. It may be covered for a season, but it can never be erased. There are areas within your soul that I am beginning to illuminate again. You will notice yourself starting to think differently. Old fears will no longer control you as they once did. Pressures that once weighed heavily upon you will begin losing their strength. Not because circumstances instantly become perfect, but because my light is reclaiming territory within you. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? As Psalm 27:1 says, is what I want engraved deeply into your mind. Once again, the one who walks in the light no longer needs beneath the rule of invisible threats. My beloved child, stop calling yourself a failure simply because you were once pulled away from your path. The lost can still be led back. The weary can still be renewed. The one once covered by confusion can still see clearly again. What matters is not how far you wandered during a season. What matters is that today you are allowing my light to guide you back, and I am leading you back step by step back to the place where peace is no longer ruled by anxiety. Back to the place where clarity is no longer drowned out by the noise of the world. Back to the place where your soul remembers who you truly are in me. Back to the place where you no longer live beneath old accusations. My beloved child, when I speak the words, "Give it back," the unseen realm must respond. What does not belong to you will have to leave. What belongs to you will begin returning to its rightful place. And you will realize that you were never truly abandoned from the destiny I prepared for you. You were simply being led back to the light that had been waiting for you from the very beginning. My beloved child, do not allow your mind to continue returning to the old images. That darkness once used to keep you trapped in weakness. Do not let memories of past failures become the mirror through which you define your present self. The accusations that once caused you to shrink back, that made you question your worth, that caused your steps to hesitate in fear, they no longer hold the authority they once had. When my judgment was spoken, those voices lost their claim over your life. My beloved child, you are no longer standing in the position of one who is being robbed. You are standing in the position of one being restored under the assurance of heaven. There is a profound difference between those two realities. The person who believes they are still living in lack will live in fear and try to hold on to everything by their own strength. But the one who knows they are being restored will begin to walk in deeper peace, because they understand that I myself am guarding what belongs to them. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. As Philippians 1:6 says, is the word I want to engrave deeply within your soul today. I do not leave unfinished what I have begun. People may break their promises. Circumstances may change. But what I have decided over your life will continue to be fulfilled according to my timing and my ways. Therefore, my beloved child, keep your heart open instead of closing it in old fear. Do not live like someone still waiting to lose something else. There are souls who have been wounded for so long that even when the season of restoration comes, they still live as though preparing for the next loss. But I am teaching you to walk with a new trust, not the naivety of someone who has never been hurt, but the peace of one who knows I am holding their life. I want you to understand that in this process of restoration, there will be things that happen beyond human control or arrangement. You will see reversals you once thought impossible. Doors that were once tightly shut will open in ways no one announced beforehand. Opportunities that seem to have drifted far away will return near to you. The right relationships will appear at the right time, and parts of your soul that you thought had died will begin to live again gently like young grass after a long winter. My beloved child, when this happens, do not think it is coincidence. It is the result of my hand moving quietly for a long time. I have never forgotten you. I have never abandoned what belongs to you to drift forever into darkness. There are things I held back, not to deprive you, but to return them in a way that is more right, deeper, and more enduring. Open your soul to see the picture I am placing before you, not with the eyes of the flesh, which are easily limited by the present moment, but with the deep, inner awareness of the Spirit. I am showing you a place of keeping in the unseen realm where the portions that belong to you once unlawfully withheld, are being marked by the light of my justice. There is the peace that was slowly worn down through the months when you were exhausted. There is the clarity that was once covered by the mist of anxiety. There are dreams that were distorted by fear until you could no longer recognize their original shape. There are doors of advancement you believed had closed forever simply because time had stretched on for too long. There are even pathways I once ordained for you, yet you were pulled off course by pressure, wounds, and weariness. But my beloved child, there is no place dark enough to hide forever what belongs to the light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. As John 105 says, is the eternal confirmation of what I am doing in your life right now. When I give the command, every door that is unlawfully held back, what belongs to you must open. What does not belong to darkness cannot remain in its hands forever. Remember Lazarus in the tomb. People thought everything had ended after 4 days. The scent of death had covered that place. But with one word I spoke, Lazarus, come out, and life immediately responded. My beloved child, there are parts of your life hearing that same call now. The things that seem to have slept for far too long are being called back to life by my light. Perhaps right now, you cannot yet see the fullness of the change with your natural eyes. But in the spiritual realm, many things have already begun to move. There are chains losing their power. There are dark places being reclaimed little by the light. There are accusations that once thundered loudly within your mind that are now beginning to weaken because my truth is becoming stronger. My beloved child, do not return to living according to the old image of yourself anymore. Do not continue calling yourself a failure, lacking or forgotten. That is the language of the former season. I am leading you into a new awareness, the awareness of one who knows they are being restored by the righteous hand of heaven. Therefore, continue forward with an open heart. Let the eyes of your soul gradually grow, accustomed to the new light. Do not fear when I begin reclaiming the inner territories that darkness occupied for far too long. That process may require you to release many old ways of thinking, but it will restore to you a freedom whose feeling you have nearly forgotten. And there will come a day when you look back and understand this. Not one part of what truly belonged to you was ever lost from my hands. Some things were only being held for the proper time of restoration. Some things were only temporarily hidden so that later my light could reveal them, even more clearly than before. And you will realize that throughout the entire journey, I was never merely observing your life from a distance. I was standing guard, taking notice, and waiting for the appointed moment to declare, return everything that belongs to my child, my beloved child. Open your heart to understand that the restoration I am working in your life is not limited to one single method. I am the one who governs both the visible and the invisible. And when I decide to return what belongs to you to its rightful place, I have countless ways to accomplish it. Some blessings will come through people encounters that appear accidental, hands extended at just the right moment. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving, introductions that open doors you could never have opened through your own strength. You will meet people whom your soul feels as though it has been prepared to encounter long ago. Some will come to strengthen you during seasons of weakness. Some will open opportunities you once believed you were not capable of entering. Some may speak only a brief sentence, yet it will become the key that opens an entirely new direction within your mind. And when you look back, you will realize that what the world called coincidence had actually been arranged by my hand long before you recognized it. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord like streams of water. He turns it wherever he wills, as Proverbs 21:7 says, is the confirmation that I can touch any circumstance, any person, in order to bring what belongs to you at the appointed time. Therefore, my beloved child, do not limit the way I work by the small understanding of human reasoning. I can use a simple conversation to change the direction of an entire season of your life. I can use a door you never expected to bring you into the place I have prepared for you. But not every blessing I give comes from outside of you. There are things I will place directly within you. My beloved child, there will be days when you awaken and realize that a new idea has appeared within your heart as clearly as light. There will be strategies you never previously considered that begin forming naturally within you. There will be things that once seemed unclear suddenly becoming so bright and understandable that even you will be amazed. Do not think that all of these things are merely the product of your own mind. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. As Proverbs 206 says, there are revelations that cannot be learned through ordinary human experience alone. They are given from heaven at the precise moment when your soul has become quiet enough to receive them. I know there were seasons when your mind was covered by confusion and exhaustion. You tried to think your way forward yet could not find a path. You prayed yet everything still seemed tangled and unclear. But my beloved child, when my light begins to touch you, clarity will return again, not in a chaotic or forced way, but like dawn slowly spreading across the earth. After a long night, there were things that once required enormous effort from you, yet still refused to move forward. But then you will begin to notice a deep change within yourself. What once felt unbearably heavy begins to grow lighter. What once remained stuck for too long begins to move again. Doors that stood silent for years begin showing signs of opening. Not because you suddenly became stronger through your own strength, but because the flow of heaven is being restored again within your life. Picture a wheel that has been jammed for too long by dust and dryness. Every attempt to turn it is filled with friction and exhaustion. But when oil is poured upon it, the wheel no longer struggles against the old resistance. It begins functioning according to its original purpose once again. My beloved child, this is what I am doing within your soul. There are places within your life being anointed again, so that what was once stagnant may begin moving freely once more. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer and sets me upon high places. As Psalm 18:33 says, is not speaking only about speed. It speaks of the spiritual agility of one who walks rightly within my flow. There are people moving very quickly, yet still becoming exhausted, because they are trying to force what is not meant for their season. But the one who walks in my rhythm will move forward with the lightness of someone upheld from within. Therefore, today, my beloved child, do not fear when you see certain changes happening more quickly than you expected. There are doors that will suddenly open because they have already been prepared for a long time in the unseen realm. But do not become troubled when other things still move slower than you hoped. Not every seed sprouts at the same moment. Not every harvest arrives in the same day. What matters is not speed according to the eyes of the world. What matters is precision within the plan I have prepared for you. For what comes too early can wound a soul that is not yet ready. But what comes at the appointed time will take deep root and carry peace with it. My beloved child, when you truly come into agreement with the flow I am opening before you, you will no longer have to live in constant strain, trying to hold everything together. The one who lives under the fear of loss is always exhausted because they believe everything depends entirely upon their own strength. But the one who understands that I am sustaining their life begins learning how to receive, instead of merely trying to control. Commit your way to the Lord, trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. As Psalm 30:75 says, is the truth. I want your soul to rest within. I am not asking you to understand every next step. I simply want you to keep your heart open before my leading. There will be days when you look at yourself and are surprised by the new gentleness within you. The things that once caused you panic will no longer control you, as they once did. Responsibilities that once made you feel suffocated will begin carrying a different flow, not because life no longer contains challenges, but because you are no longer walking through it alone by your own strength. My beloved child, I am bringing you back into your rightful alignment, not merely so you may recover what was once lost, but so you may live correctly within the flow I ordained for you from the beginning. And when you stand in that rightful place, everything will begin to move with the harmony your soul has long desired. My beloved child, understand this deeply within your soul. What I am doing in your life is not a temporary layer of peace placed over old pain, just to make you feel better for a moment, before everything returns to the way it once was. I do not heal by patching the surface. I do not simply wipe away tears while leaving untouched the roots that exhausted your soul. What I am doing is a work of reconstruction from deep within you, where old foundations once cracked are now being rebuilt by the truth of heaven. There were seasons when you thought you only needed to feel better. But, my beloved child, I desire to give you far more than that. I am not merely restoring the feeling of peace. I am rebuilding the foundation of peace within you. A foundation that will not easily collapse simply because circumstances change. A steadiness no longer entirely dependent on whether outward things remain favorable. I am not merely restoring confidence in the way the world understands it, the kind that disappears the moment someone rejects or overlooks you. I am restoring the true awareness of your worth in me. There is a profound difference between those two things. The one who lives by the approval of the world will always tremble before loss, but the one who knows who they are in me will remain standing, even when no one else recognizes their value. My beloved child, I am not merely returning your voice to you. I am restoring authority within the words you speak. There were seasons when your voice grew quieter because of fear, shame, and repeated accusations echoing within your mind. There were times when you remained silent, not because you had nothing to say, but because your soul had been made to doubt the light within itself. But now I am removing the invisible thorns that have pierced your mind for far too long. The thoughts that caused you constantly to question yourself, the memories that made your heart shrink every time they returned, the emotions that caused you to limit yourself before even taking a step. My beloved child, I am uprooting these things piece by piece. And when I remove them, I do not leave emptiness behind within you. I fill those places with my truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 says, is not speaking only about escaping old chains. True freedom always comes together with a new way of living. I am not merely pulling you out of darkness. I am teaching the eyes of your soul how to become accustomed to a new light. My beloved child, remember the lame man at the beautiful gate of the temple. For many years, he lived within the limitations of his condition. He became accustomed to begging for small coins, accustomed to sitting low, accustomed to believing that his life could exist only within those boundaries. And many times the most frightening chains are not the outward ones. But when the soul begins to accept limitation as normal, but when heaven's appointed time arrived, what I did for him was not merely repairing his legs. When Peter declared, in the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk. As Acts 3:6 says, an entirely new reality opened before him. He did not merely stand up, he walked, he leaped, he praised. My beloved child, true healing always leads you into a new way of living. It does not simply return you to your former condition. And this is what I am doing with you as well. I am not bringing you back to become exactly the person you were before you were wounded. For if I only did that, you would still carry the same old limitations, the same old fears, and the same old fragility. No, my beloved child, I am leading you into a new version of yourself, one who is clearer, deeper, and stronger than before. There are things that once easily caused you to collapse that will no longer hold that same power over you. Not because you are becoming cold or hardened, but because my truth is taking deeper root within your soul. The one who has been rebuilt from within is no longer easily shaken by outward winds. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, is what I am rewriting over your life. A renewal that does not exist merely in temporary emotions, but in identity, in understanding, in the way you see yourself, and the way you see life itself. My beloved child, there were seasons when you were only trying to survive each day, but I did not create you to live forever in a state of merely enduring. I am calling you into a more abundant life, a life where you no longer simply react to wounds, but begin to live from healing itself. There is a great difference between the one who lives trying to avoid pain and the one who lives much the freedom within their soul. I know that sometimes this process makes you feel as though many things inside you are being stripped away. Old patterns of thinking are being shaken. False beliefs are being exposed. But my beloved child, I do not tear things down in order to leave you lost. I remove what is no longer true, so that I may build something stronger and more lasting. Look at a builder restoring a house that has been damaged within. Certain parts must first be removed before a new foundation can be laid. And your soul is the same. I do not want merely to decorate the outside, while the inside remains filled with cracks that were never healed. Therefore, today do not fear this process. Do not cling to the old image of yourself simply because it feels familiar. I am leading you into a new place, a place where you no longer live beneath the voice of fear or shame, a place where you no longer see yourself through the lens of old wounds, a place where you begin standing upright in the light of the identity I have placed upon you. And there will come a time when you look back at the person you were years ago and realize this: I did not merely heal you, I transformed you. The things that once caused you to shrink back have become testimonies of heaven's restoring power. The places once filled with darkness now radiate light, and your soul, once weary and trembling, is now beginning to stand in the freedom of one who knows they are being made new day by day in me. My beloved child, do not think that what I am doing in your life is merely a gentle breeze passing by to soothe your pain for a moment and then disappear. I did not come simply to make you feel better temporarily and then leave your soul to return to its old fractures. My work goes far deeper than that. I am touching the very foundation within you, the place where your thoughts, memories, emotions, and beliefs about yourself have been formed through many seasons of pain. And I am rebuilding everything from the roots upward. There are people who only desire a little relief for their hearts, but I desire to give you a soul that is truly transformed. I am not merely placing peace upon you, the way someone lays a cloth over troubled waters. I am building within you the foundation of peace, a peace that remains standing even when outward circumstances have not yet completely changed. That peace does not come from life becoming easy. It comes from finally knowing upon whom you stand. My beloved child, I am not merely restoring confidence in the way the world understands it. The world builds confidence upon success, praise, and recognition. But I am doing something deeper than that. I am restoring the way you see yourself. There were years when you unknowingly learned to view yourself through the eyes of pain, failure, rejection, and words that once caused your heart to shrink within you. Little by little, you stopped seeing yourself the way I see you. But today, I am pulling that veil down from your mind. I am uprooting every invisible thorn that was planted within your thoughts. The voices that made you constantly feel you were not enough. The memories that caused you to withdraw every time you wanted to move forward. The emotions that caused you to limit yourself before you even tried to take a step. My beloved child, those things have remained within your soul for so long that at times you began believing they were part of who you are, but they are not. They are not your identity. They are only things that attach themselves to you along the journey of life. And when I remove them, I do not leave emptiness behind. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 says, is not merely about escaping old chains. I always replace the old with the new. I uproot lies in order to plant truth. I remove fear in order to place understanding within you. I take away shame in order to restore identity. I remove darkness in order to fill you with my light. My beloved child, remember the lame man sitting at the beautiful gate of the temple. He had remained there for so long that his limited existence had become normal to him. He became accustomed to sitting low, accustomed to living from one small coin to the next, accustomed to surviving beneath the level heaven had created him to live in. And the greatest danger was not merely his crippled legs, but the fact that his soul had grown accustomed to limitation for too long. But when heaven's appointed time arrived, the miracle did not merely repair his legs. When Peter declared, "In the name of Jesus Christ, rise up and walk," as Acts 3:6 says, his entire reality changed. He did not simply stand up and return to his former life. He walked, he leaped, he praised. An entirely new life opened before him. My beloved child, this is what I am also doing in your life. I do not merely want to return you to the state you were in before you were wounded. If I only did that, you would still carry the same old limitations, the same old fears, and the same old fragility. But I am creating something new within you. You are about to enter your divine future. Remember that this message does not end with you. People can use your breakthrough to get where they need to go through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community, you can help this mission. By doing so, you are sowing into the awakening, deliverance, and restoration of souls who are still trapped in darkness. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and safety for your family. Now is your time, my child. Have faith, and as you do, watch God multiply what you let go of. A version of yourself that is more mature, more radiant with clarity, and more firmly grounded. There were places within your soul that once collapsed easily because of a single painful word, but in time you will realize that you are changing, not into someone cold or emotionless, but into someone with deeper roots. The one who is truly healed no longer reacts to everything from old wounds. They begin responding from the new truth I have planted within their heart. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation, as 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, is what I am rewriting over your life day by day. This renewal does not happen in one single moment and then remain permanently complete. It is like dawn slowly spreading after a long night. The light comes little by little, yet every part of it is real. My beloved child, do not fear when I begin peeling away old layers of thinking within you. Some false beliefs have rooted themselves so deeply that when I remove them, you may feel as though you are being torn down and rebuilt. But I do not dismantle in order to destroy. I remove what is no longer true, so that I may establish something stronger and more enduring. Look at a builder restoring an old house. Certain walls must be broken down, not because the builder hates the house, but because he wants it to stand securely for many years, and your soul is the same. I do not want merely to decorate the outside, while the inside still carries cracks that were never healed. There will be days when you begin noticing this transformation through very small things. Situations that once caused panic within, you will no longer hold the same power. Words that once made you shrink back will no longer define you. Fears that once controlled every decision will begin losing strength before the light of truth. My beloved child, these are signs that restoration is truly taking place, and there will come a day when you look back at the person you were years ago and stand amazed, not because you never suffered pain, but because the very things that once tried to destroy you have now become testimonies of my restoring power. You will realize that I did not merely heal your wounds. I transformed the very person within you. I am leading you into a new life, a life where you no longer live like someone constantly waiting to be heard again. A life where you stand with the clarity of one who knows who they are in me. A life where you no longer walk beneath the shadow of old memories, but beneath the light of a new identity. And my beloved child, this is not partial restoration. This is the complete transformation of a soul being made new within my eternal light. My beloved child, what I am placing into your hands is not a passing emotion that fades with time. It is spiritual understanding, authority formed through the seasons you have walked through with me. Therefore, receive what I give you with deep understanding and with reverence. Do not treat it lightly, as though it were something ordinary. But neither should you use it in the haste of the flesh. There are those who, the moment they receive light, immediately desire to prove themselves stronger than others. But my beloved child, the one who truly carries authority, does not need to display it through noise or self-exaltation. Let what I have placed within you flow through the calmness of a soul anchored firmly in me. The one who knows they are already affirmed, no longer lives, seeking affirmation from the world. They do not need to argue in order to be recognized. They do not need to strain themselves defending their identity. They simply stand firmly in the truth, and the light of that truth reveals everything by itself. As you begin walking in this understanding, my beloved child, everything that does not belong to you will gradually reveal itself. There are things that have hidden in darkness for far too long that will no longer endure the increasing light I am raising within you. The strongholds that once clung to your mind, the accusations that once echoed loudly within your soul, the fears that once caused you to shrink back, they will begin losing their power, not because you shout against them through your own strength, but because my light within you is becoming stronger than that darkness. For the weapons of our warfare have divine power to demolish strongholds, as 2 Corinthians 10:9-4 says is something I want you to understand deeply. Strongholds are not only outward things. There are strongholds that have been built within your thoughts over many years. Patterns of limitation, old fears, false beliefs about yourself. But when my authority begins operating within you, those walls will no longer be able to hold their place as they once did. My beloved child, I know there were times when you wished I would speak to you through great signs, through a mighty voice from heaven that would instantly dissolve every doubt within you. You wanted a confirmation so clear that no uncertainty could remain. You wanted a blazing light to immediately drive away every shadowed place within your mind. But my beloved child, many times I do not lead your soul through thunder, but through a peace so deep that the world itself cannot produce it. Sometimes I speak through a pure thought that gently continues returning to your heart. Sometimes I touch you through a quiet prompting that causes you to know you should stop, even while everyone around you is urging you forward. Sometimes I keep your heart strangely calm in the middle of chaotic days, as a reminder that I still hold authority over what you do not yet understand. My beloved child, do not think my voice must always be loud in order to carry power. The deepest things of heaven often come like a gentle breath upon a soul willing to listen. Remember Elijah in the cave. He waited for me in the mighty wind, in the earthquake, and in the fire. But I was not in those things. I came through a still, quiet whisper, and it was within that gentleness that his soul recognized me. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, as John 10:27 says, is not a promise reserved for people who have never known fear or confusion. It is a promise for souls who have learned to remain close enough to me, to recognize the sound of my presence among thousands of other voices. My beloved child, recognizing my voice does not come from straining yourself trying to predict the future. It grows through a relationship cultivated day by day. Just as a child gradually learns to recognize the voice of their father in the midst of a crowd, your soul will also learn the tone of grace as you continue drawing near to me. And I want you to remember this deeply. My voice does not pull you into chaos. My grace does not sustain you through endless self-condemnation. I do not lead you through panic or pressure that leaves your soul suffocating. There may be times when I correct you, but my correction always leads back toward the light. It never drives you into despair. There may be times when I restrain you, but not to fill you with fear. I do it to protect you from things that are not yet meant for your season. My beloved child, my voice carries clarity. It produces humility rather than pride. It creates steadiness rather than chaos. And deeper than all of these, it carries a peace that the world can never imitate. There are paths that appear bright and promising to human eyes, yet your soul becomes restless when standing before them. There are also steps that still make you tremble, yet deep within there is a quiet peace gently sustaining you. My beloved child, learn to discern these things. Not everything easy comes from me, and not everything difficult is a sign of my absence. So today, do not ask only which road is easiest. Do not seek merely the place where your flesh feels safest. Ask instead, Father, where are your footsteps leading? There will be seasons when I call you to move forward, even while you are still trembling. Just as Peter stepped out of the boat in the middle of the storm, he did not step because the sea had become calm. He stepped because he heard my voice calling him. My beloved child, sometimes faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is recognizing that my voice is greater than your fear. But there will also be times when I hold you back, even when everything outwardly appears perfect. Some doors seem right simply because they are convenient, yet your soul loses peace the closer you come to them. Do not resist my restraint during such seasons. A good father does not only open doors, sometimes he closes them in order to protect his child from what is not yet right. And there will be moments when I teach you to wait. My beloved child, waiting does not mean I have forgotten you. Many souls believe that if heaven grows silent, then surely I must have left them behind. But many times delay itself is my hand ripening things your eyes cannot yet see. Remember Joseph in the prison. If I had elevated him too soon, he would not yet have possessed the maturity needed to carry the greater responsibility ahead. Remember David in the wilderness for many years before ascending the throne. Seasons of delay are not meaningless empty spaces. They are the places where I deepen the foundation of the soul. Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, "This is the way. Walk in it." As Isaiah 37:21 says, "Is the truth I want planted deeply within your heart today." My guidance is not merely a map for some distant future. It is light for the very small steps of today. Perhaps I have not yet shown you the entire journey ahead, but I will always give you enough light for the next step. My beloved child, you do not need to know every turn in the road in order to trust me. If I revealed the entire journey from the beginning, many times you would lean upon your own understanding instead of learning to hold my hand. But when you walk step by step in faith, your soul is taught how to live closer to me. Just as the people of Israel were led by the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night, they did not know beforehand the full wilderness they would cross. They only knew that when the cloud moved, they followed. When the cloud stopped, they remained still. My beloved child, this is also what I am teaching you. Not to live by controlling everything, but by walking in step with my presence. So today be at peace when you do not know how to move forward. Stay close to me when you are uncertain about what is right. Keep your soul soft before me. When you are still trembling with fear, do not be ashamed of it. Simply do not let go of my hand. For, my beloved child, the most important thing is not that you understand the entire path. The most important thing is that the one leading you has never left your side for even a single step. With the thing